Cool. So tonight I wanted to put a little bit of a presentation on how to maintain your weight through the festive season. Over like the years of working in the fitness industry with like many clients, it's the toughest time. It's the toughest time as a coach for obviously our clients to stay on track and stay focused in what they need to do. So look, as a personal trainer or a coach, you can't tell your clients not to eat too much on Christmas Day. You can't tell them not to drink too much because, look, it's the festive season, right? So like we've got to eat, indulge, and enjoy with family and friends, etc. So the whole idea for tonight is to give you the best, I suppose, tools to be able to get through the festive season and keep the weight the same. Right, so we don't overindulge and we don't keep overindulging, so we put on too much weight, because like what happens, we go, oh, it's Christmas, who gives a shit, it's Christmas time, who cares, it's Christmas, we keep eating and eating more and more and more, and then before you know it, after 2 to 3 weeks, you put on 5 kilos, right? That 5 kilos is simple to put on over the festive season, but it's super hard to get back off as well. And the biggest problem is like when we go through the festive season and we start New Year's goals, right? They don't last long. So we go out too hard to begin with, and then it gets too hard. So I want to make things a lot simpler for you over the festive season, the next 2 weeks. So obviously it's going to be a lot simpler going into like the new year. So you can achieve your goals a lot more like realistically instead of panicking or feeling bad about yourself, like guilty, etc. You can feel just normal, just like you would any other day of the week, right? So I've got some great strategies. I did a little pre-like video before today, just to give you guys a rough idea what I'm going to be talking about. And look, thanks so much for joining me. I can see I've got a couple of people on at the moment. If you've got any questions, shoot them through as I'm speaking. I've got the questions just up here. And look, if you have just jump on, just let me know, say hi, so I know like who's on board and who's watching tonight. So again, look, thanks so much for taking the time to come on board. I'm going to keep this as short as possible. As I said, I've got some notes, I've got some information in front of me, but I'm going to see like where this goes. Yeah, so let's kick it off. As I said, if you're on board, just put it in the questions. So let me know like who's here, comment below. So the festive season, right? Generally, like I said, we make it difficult for ourselves because, come Christmas time, we've got all intentions in our days are like whatever to do more exercise to be good, but it doesn't generally happen, right? So my advice is start to use this time wisely if you've got time off of work, right? Commit to yourself to at least 30 to 45 minutes of exercise per day. Hey, Mike, thanks, mate. I always start a presentation off talking about 6 steps to optimal health, because if you're not doing these 6 steps to optimal health, it's going to be a lot tougher to be able to like maintain your weight during the festive season, right? So 6 steps to optimal health. The number one thing I want you to think about is what is your goals? And now is a really great time of year to start planting that seed, right? Like, what is my goals? Like, what do I like want to achieve for 2022, right? And not just like for the whole year, that first quarter, right? So that's something to really start to be thinking about, right? Like, what do I like want to achieve? Is it weight loss? Is it strength improvement? Is it to compete in an event, right? So whatever it is, start to get that super clear, right? If you're on board my coaching program, I'm like big on setting goals, right? Your goal setting sheet. So we have a long-term goal, a 5-year plan, a 12-month, right? And we have a 3-month goal and then 5 stepping stones to get there, right? And then like we commit to it, right? And if you haven't heard me talk about my pathway prediction program before as well, so this is a program that I run. It's a systemized series of videos I've got to teach you how to set them goals, and most importantly, put them goals in the subconscious mind, right? It's important to set goals. People that set goals achieve them, but if they're not set subconsciously, right, you've got less of a chance of achieving them. Okay, so we set a logical goal by putting it on paper, but it's also important to make sure that we set a subconscious goal as well, right? That makes it a lot clearer. So we've got that running in the background of our mind, okay, like without even like thinking about it, right? So subconsciously, anything that comes up, if it's to skip a training session or to eat that extra takeaway per week, whatever it is, right? We've got that like running in the background in the subconscious mind that helps. So obviously, setting goals super important to make sure that we've got them goals set and that we go through that process and set them in the subconscious mind. But the first step is a logical goal, right? But in the short term, over the festive season, I want you to start thinking about what do you really want to achieve in 2022, right? So that's my first step to optimal health. The second one is like breathing. Okay, obviously just some gentle breathing is important. Now, if you're a weight loss client, right, getting that diaphragm to pump is super important. Imagine your digestion a pond and that diaphragm a pump, right? If that pump is not pumping properly, that pond will go stagnant. So we've got to keep that flow, right, that pump pumping. So that's some nice, simple diaphragmatic breaths. So big breath in, pushing that top of the belly out. Right, just some simple breathing techniques are so beneficial for increasing our metabolism, improving our digestion, relaxation, right? Taking us out of that stress state, right? The more stress that we have on the body, the more everything is going to slow down our digestion, increasing like more fat storage and stuff like that. So it is super important to make sure that we're breathing, right? This is step 2 of the 6 steps. Step 3, okay, like water. A big part of going to be to maintain your weight throughout this like festive season is making sure we're drinking enough like water. If you're socializing and drinking like alcohol, right, like water is going to be the big key. Because if we're like dehydrated or not topped up to our maximum, I suppose, like hydration levels, like we could call it, that's when you're going to get more hungry. You think you're hungry, but actually you need more water, right? So missing the water is not going to be a good move. So grab your bottle. I was just looking for mine. I haven't got it in front of me. Grab your bottle. Like make sure you're drinking minimum 2 to 3 liters a day. Okay, minimum. Now, if we're talking about water, good quality stuff as well. Don't drink this shit in the tap water. Right, too many chemicals that are going to kill all the enzymes in the digestive system, right? So either pure tap's fine, or I'll grab a box water. So what you can also do is put the pink sea salt in, right? Like the Himalayan sea salt is going to put the minerals back up in the water, so it absorbs more into the cells, so it's not passing through your body as quick, and you go to the toilet every 5 minutes. So put the sea salt. Pink sea salt is best. Anything that is white, generally it's been bleached. Right, let's look at step number 4, sleeping. The reason I'm talking about sleeping as well is because if we're not sleeping 10 to 6, our body works in a circadian cycle. So this is with the sun and the moon, right? The cortisone, so when the sun comes up, it's at its peak. And as throughout the day, our cortisol starts to go down, melatonin comes up, right? So 10 to 6, 10 to 2 is physical repair of the body. 2 to 6 is more psychological. So if we are missing out on that like physical repair of the body, or even psychological, right, that's a stress. So the more stress that we have on the body, and yes, it's a festive season, so you're gonna have a couple late nights here and there, right? But the best thing is, right, it's almost like an addiction. If you have one late night, you have another and another, and it's tough to go to bed, right? You've got to break that cycle, right? So maybe perhaps I'll do some breathing techniques or some meditations to help you get back into that cycle as soon as possible. right? Don't break that cycle for too long. Because if we break that cycle too long and we're craving sugars because we're tired, I'm looking for stimulants, right? So what we're going to do is start to put on more weight, and we're not going to maintain that weight through that festive season. So make sure that you are getting to bed 10 o'clock. If you have a few late nights, get back to that cycle ASAP. Okay, like nutrition. I'm going to talk a little bit more about nutrition as we go. So the last two steps, step 5 and 6, is like nutrition and exercise. Right. So these are the main points I'm going to be talking about tonight. Before we go into that, let's talk about alcohol. Right. Alcohol is a big one that we're generally going to be drinking in the festive season. So it might be, could be just a couple social drinks over dinner, or could be some binge drinking, partying. Okay, whatever it is, I've got some strategies that I want you to listen to help overcome that, to like recover quicker, right? To get you back to more to normality. Because look, if you have a big night of drinking, if you drink whatever, say 10 drinks, right, you're not going to wake up and feel as fresh as you would if you didn't have them 10 drinks, of course. Right. So I've got a couple of strategies. Listen carefully. Maybe get a pen out and jot these down. So the number one, right, if we do have a big night drinking, or even if it is 2 to 4, okay, drinks, whatever, right, it's still going to be good to help yourself to recover, so you can get back to like your normal self. So the first thing is going to be like water, of course. Like we need to make sure that we're hydrated. Okay, like drinking a glass of water in between the alcoholic drinks are going to keep the body hydrated, because if you're not drinking that, you'll get very dehydrated quickly, and that is what generally is going to make you feel like crap like the next day. So the first step would be making sure that we are keeping our body hydrated, with the good water, of course, and the sea salt again. So I do recommend as well, after you've been drinking, you get home, if it is a couple of drinks, whatever, with dinner, or you've been out to a party. So when you get home, right, I do recommend 2 things. One's going to be a green smoothie, right, and I'll tell you what I want you to put in that in a sec, and some branched chain amino acids. Right, what happens if you've been out partying all night? Right, you're moving, you're drunk, you're doing a stupid, crazy shit. Your muscles are still activating, and because you've got the alcohol in your body, you feel almost contracted. You're pumped, right? So you feel contracted. You're tired. You're moving. You might be dancing, whatever, having a good time, right? So the next day, you're obviously going to wake up and you go, "What did I do last night? I'm sore as shit," you know. Perhaps you did a push-up competition, or you did a sprint with some friends, or something stupid like that. Anyway, branched chain amino acids. Now, the way I have branched chain amino acids, in the thing, I get the scoop straight in the mouth and drink it down. Right? That's simple before you go to bed. Right? This is a really good recovery strategy to help you to recover quicker from alcohol. Right? As I said, even if it's 2 drinks, 10 drinks, or 20 drinks, this is going to be a really good strategy to incorporate. Now, I said green smoothie. Now, the reason that you would have a green smoothie is to reduce inflammation in the body. Alcohol, it causes an inflammation in the body, right? So that's where you're going to get dehydrated. It's a stress on the body. You feel like shit, right? And you're sore as well. So green smoothie before bed, absolutely perfect, right? Spinach, orange, 2 dates, a banana, avocado for fats. Now, if you've got some aloe vera plants in your garden, these are absolutely gold. I've got about 20 of them growing around my place. They're absolutely gold. They are absolutely fantastic for reducing inflammation in the body. Right? They're good for digestion. Now, I've been told that if you put the skin in, it's a bit of a laxative, but it's never happened for me. Right. So what you do, you break off a leaf, you cut it off, bang, straight into the green smoothie. Right. As simple as that. Right. Then you put some water in your If it's a NutriBullet blender, whatever, you blend it up, drink that before you go to bed, right? Drink that. You can also put your branched chain amino acids into the green smoothie as well, right? So it's low on carbohydrates because you've been drinking the alcohol. You've already had excessive carbohydrates. So it's not what you need carbohydrates to recover, but it's going to give you that anti-inflammatory to help you to recover. So even if you've had 2 or 3 glasses or 4 glasses, whatever, of wine at dinner, right? Your green smoothie would almost be like your dessert, right? If you're drinking some water, a green smoothie, some branched chain amino acids, right? And get to bed as soon as possible, right? That is going to be a key for helping you to recover, because the worst thing is if you wake up and feel like shit, the next component I'm going to get to is exercise. You're not going to want to exercise the next day, right? It's going to be challenging for you. So that's some really good strategies, right? Green smoothie, branched chain amino acids, right? Before you go to bed, right? And a green smoothie, simple to make, right? If you come home too pissed and you can't make a green smoothie, make it before you go. So it's in the fridge for when you get home. All you got to do is just drink that down. You probably spill half of it down your face and your shirt, but as long as you get it in, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. That is a real key component to helping you to recover in the festive season if you're having any sort of drinks, right? Now, like I said, if you are on my coaching program, of course you're going to drink. I wouldn't tell anyone not to drink over the festive season. It's just crazy. It's the festive season. You got to indulge and enjoy, right? Right, now let's talk about nutrition. I want to talk about overloading the digestive system. So this is where it becomes a big problem. And I put a plan together, okay, a nutrition plan and an exercise plan. I did post that in the group a bit earlier, so hopefully you had a good look at that. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit more detail. So obviously the nutrition is what happens in the festive season, right? If we keep our normal diet and we go, could be say like Christmas Eve, big dinner, okay, Christmas Day, big lunch, and then we go back to our normal diet again. So what happens, even though we go back to our normal diet, we're still going to feel fat and bloated, right? Because we haven't let all that excessive food that we put in pass yet. Right, so that if that hasn't passed, what happens? The digestive system gets backed up. We get bloated, we get inflammation, right? And then we start to put on weight, right? So that is the biggest problem with eating too much. So we have to change our thinking and our strategies, right? Now, if you think of, right, a snake, a python, right? So what does it just say? It does a kill, it eats. Let's just say, what do they eat? I suppose it depends how big the python is. Let's just say it eats a chicken, right? The python kills the chicken. It eats that, sits in the stomach. It doesn't eat again for what? Another month, 2 months? I'm not sure exactly, but it's a long time. Like, why? Because it's got to pass through before it can process anything else again. If it ate a chicken, say once a week, it would be like this all the way down the snake, right? But that's exactly what happens to us, right? We have a big lunch, a big dinner, again and again and again, starts to back up, right? We can't control it, so it stores into a fat, right? Because we can't process it. So if we go back to our normal diet, right, it's not going to pass. It's going to take longer and longer to pass, right? So the key is to give that digestion a break, right? So obviously the pleasure is going to be at Christmas, the indulging, but the pain is going to come a little bit either before or after that. Now, I talk about pain. It depends what you call pain, right? I've just had a couple of people come off the 10 kilos in 10-day program. Now that's a total of 7 days juicing, right? So juicing is going to be my strategy for you today to give that digestion a break, to be able to go back to a normal diet and still maintain your weight, right? It's all about a deficiency in your calories, right? It's what goes in. We have to put that expenditure out as well, exercise and nutrition. right? Even if you're not going to exercise, we've got to give that digestion a break to let that pass. Most people think, and you see it all the time, right? On Boxing Day, on like New Year's Day, or everyone is out exercising, right? It's not really so much the key component in regard to getting that back to normality. The key component is going to be letting that digestive system rest and let that pass through. Then we can go back to normal foods. Right, absolute key. Now, you might think, okay, I'm going to give the digestive system a break, right? I'm not going to eat. Well, no, not true. Right? You're going to have smaller meals. You're going to have a juice instead of a meal. You're going to do a smaller dinner. So portion sizes are going to be absolutely crucial in these next 2 weeks outside of your indulging, right? Even if you're indulging 2 times, 3 times, or 10 times, right? So whatever it is, outside those indulging sessions has to be really tight and controlled. Now, so what I'm talking about tonight is not going to apply to everyone, right? Including myself. I probably have 2 days where I have a Christmas lunch, and that's about it, right? But my portion size possibly could be a bit bigger. But I've had a lot of clients message and say, look, everything's going to be the same. Everything's going to be perfect. I'm not going to change anything. Perfect, great, absolutely fantastic. But there is a few probably things that will increase. It might be a bit of a social drink or something like that. So just keep that in mind as well. Depending on your amount of indulging is the amount of tightness that you got to be in regard to portion sizes, skipping a meal and having a juice instead of a meal, right? Reducing calories prior to, right, to get you in that deficiency of calories. So I'm just going to pull up here so I can talk about it. I can't share my screen on this, but I'm just going to talk about it. So I pretty much put 2 7-day plans together in regard to exercise and like nutrition. So let's talk about that quickly. Now, let's just quickly go into the exercise component. Now, the best form of exercise that you can do to increase your metabolism for the whole day is going to be a high intensity interval training. Right? I did a presentation on this a while back. So it's not the best type of training that you would do long term, okay, like for weight loss. But so what it's going to do short term is give you that metabolism kick to keep them calories burning throughout the day. Right. So what I'm suggesting is, depending if you're on my coaching program already, is you're going to be doing 2 to 3 rounds of high intensity interval training. So this is strength and conditioning training. Okay, squats and deadlifts and lunges in a circuit style of form, right, on a timer, right, continuously. So we just keep that heart rate up the whole time. Right, so this sort of interval training has been proven, like studies have proven it, that we're going to burn more calories throughout the day because the heart rate continuously stays up high. Right, it's a constant stress on the body. So we're constantly feeling hungry, but we're burning those calories. If you're eating a lot of foods, like we're going to burn through those calories a lot quicker. So 2 types of interval training. I've got a strength circuit, and I've got some like run intervals as well, right? So depending on your ability, depends if you've been running, if you've got injuries, and all this type of stuff needs to be taken into account. But if you can't run, what you can do is walk, and instead of obviously an interval, so, example in the running program, I've got 1 minute intervals. All right, it's 1 minute fast and hard, it's 1 minute easy by 10. Right. So if you can't run, what you can do is just like walk and add some like hill work in there. It could be like walking up a hill quickly. Right. So I pretty much got that every day of the week. Every second day is going to be the strength. Every other day is going to be like the run intervals. Now, the best time to do this type of training is, of course, in the morning before breakfast. Right. It's going to have the best impact of burning fats. Right. So you're pretty much going to do that 5 days a week. On day 6, It could be just a long run, it could be a trail run, or a walk, right? So we just add in a little bit of hills to that as well for a bit more strength work. Okay, like nutrition. Now, the best foods that you can eat is obviously a high protein breakfast, especially after strength and conditioning session. A high protein breakfast, right? It's low carbs, so it's going to be great for like burning fat. It's going to help your recovery as well. So the breakfast I've suggested, for example, on day one, on like Monday, is going to be eggs, could be poached eggs or scrambled eggs, and I've got an enzyme tomato salad. So that's just tomatoes, avocado, I've got some lemon, I've got some chilies, right? Adding spice into the diet is going to be important because it's going to help increase your metabolism as well. So the more spicy the food, the better it's going to be. Right? And day two for breakfast, green smoothie, right? So it's going to be obviously a run or walk in the morning, and then you go have a green smoothie. That's going to be absolutely fantastic to reduce them calories as well. So can you see what I mean? So if you're eating food all the time, like we want to just start to incorporate a smoothie. On day two, so what I've got is some raw fruits at lunchtime, right? So again, in your fruits and your green smoothie, they're not high calories, right? I did say the protein is going to be good, but also we're just alternating from that protein after your strength to more digestive foods on your cardio days, interval running days, right? So on day three for breakfast after the strength, I've got some chia pudding. You can add some fruits with that as well. So that is great. Again, chia seed pudding, great fat sources, right? So it's going to make you feel more satisfied, right? So you've got to find these foods that are going to be more satisfying. At lunch, it's going to be a blueberry smoothie, right? I'll talk about like the dinners on day four, right? So what you're going to do is just have a green smoothie. So now that we're coming closer into Christmas, so we start to reduce those calories even more, right? Green smoothie at at dinner time, right? So no lunch. It's just straight into a chicken. So you could do, example, a chicken breast. Could be like Moroccan spice with some salads, right? I would just go some like raw salads. It could be a grated carrot, grated beetroot, in some spinach, something like that. Something simple, light, and low carbohydrates, right? I'm not a big fan of the keto diet, but in these next 2 weeks in the festive season, right, it's going to be a good idea to reduce the carbohydrate content to maintain that weight, okay? Day number 5, right? As I said, like we're getting closer. So in the morning for breakfast, it's going to be a later brunch style. It's going to be an omelette, all right? It could be 2 eggs just with some tomato, a tiny bit of avocado on top, right? At dinner, could be some quinoa with some eggs, tomatoes, something simple again. Right, and then we go into Christmas Day, right? The interval training, absolutely important. Make sure you get that done. Look, even if it's most of the interval sessions I put in this plan are 40 minutes to like 45. But even if it's a half an hour, make sure you get half an hour done in the morning, right? Then we go into a good solid breakfast, right? Now, I say good solid breakfast, same thing, all right? Could be 2 poached eggs, some tomato, avocado. Right, so that's just going to set you up, because if you have a shitty breakfast, sometimes if you have too many carbohydrates, it can open up that floodgates to need more sugars, right? So a good protein breakfasts are really good for keeping those floodgates closed, so we're not craving all those sugars that like we generally get. So yeah, then Christmas Day, and then what I'm suggesting on the Sunday is going to be 1 day of juice. Right, so no food at all. And look, so you might go, well, on that day I've got more social events, whatever. That's okay. You can sort of tweak that around and change that around to suit. Could be like the day after, but I'm suggesting 1 day in between Christmas and like New Year's that you do some juicing. Right, that's going to help just get those calories back down. Now, a lot of people said to me, or a lot of people say, oh, juicing, but it's not enough like nutrition. But you're getting more nutrition through juicing than you would in your everyday diet. I guarantee it. A couple of people have come back to me and said, oh, example, the 10 kilo program. Oh, that's too dangerous. Well, if you're 100 kilos plus, you're eating so much shit and you have a 2-day and then a 5 days of juice, that is way more, that is a lot more like nutrition than if you're eating takeaway 4 to 5 nights a week. Right. So the juicing is great for giving that digestion a break, right? Remember I spoke about the snake gets blocked up. That's going to pass through a lot quicker with just some juice, right? Like we absorb that into the bloodstream a lot more, get them like nutrients in the bloodstream. Yeah, yep. So this is where the pain is going to come. The pain comes from it's not eating food, right? It's not an easy task, but pain and pleasure, right? You can't have both. You know, like get yourself outside your comfort zones. And you said, yeah, I indulge, right? So now it's time. Toughen up and bite the bullet to maintain that weight through the festive season. Right, that's all we got to do. All right, so look, that is pretty much so what I have got done. Now, the beauty of this in between Christmas and like New Year's, they both fall on the same day, I'm pretty sure. Quote me if I'm wrong, but they both fall on the Saturday. Right, so even though so what I've pretty much put together is through on the second week, the Friday and the Saturday, it's going to be a New Year's Eve. So that's probably going to be the crunch time in regard to like when you're going to have the worst amount of food or drinking alcohol, etc. And then like New Year's Day, it might not be as bad. So you could, again, I've got the juice in there. No, actually, I won't say that. I wouldn't recommend having juicing if you've had a big night on the piss. Definitely do not do that. Right? I would at least take a day to get some good food back into you, some good quality food, and then you can do a day juicing. Right? Because if you start the juicing on a hangover, you're already depleted. You've got obviously no. I suppose like you're going to be tired because you didn't sleep. That juicing is just going to be too hard to make you feel like total shit. So give yourself a day to rehabilitate, recover, and then you could do the juicing if you've drank a lot of alcohol. Righty, cool. So if you haven't seen the plans, I did post that in the group. Now, if you do want those plans, all you've got to do is like set up an account through Training Peaks and I can schedule them in there for you. If you are on my coaching program, I'm going to put something similar into that, but more personalized, specific towards what we've been like working like with, etc. in the past towards your goals. So even if you are going to have a week that you might just like me, it's only going to be excuse me, a couple of days of indulging or whatever, it's not going to be that big. I still suggest that you start to do some interval training, right? I'm going to be doing it because it is going to increase that metabolism. So it's a good time of year. Look, things are going to change in the festive season. You get out of our like routine. So it's good to make sure that we get them interval sessions all done first thing in the morning, right? Absolutely key. Get that training done. Yeah, get it out of the way. All right, so the two key points for the nutrition program is to get the calories lower than what we're obviously going to be expending, all right, so we can indulge in those days. So it's almost like we keep the calories right down and then we can indulge a lot more to keep it more balanced, righty? Same like with the exercise program, the key is going to be, the strategies is going to be keep that heart rate up. So we do start to burn more calories the whole day, right? And not just obviously come up in that time. So we're going to work pretty hard. It's an interval set. I've got 2 rounds or 3 rounds, or if you're experienced or advanced, you could do up to 4 rounds. But a high intensity activity, first thing in the morning before breakfast, it's going to like burn fat. It's going to keep your calories like burning it throughout the day, right? So with the metabolism. And if we can have that high protein breakfast straight afterwards, it's going to be the icing on the cake, right? So that is how we're going to maintain that weight in festive season. So key points to take away from tonight is going to be, I want you guys, metabolism to be working hard. I want it to be high, calorie burning. So what you're going to be doing in those interval sessions is pushing yourself, righty, pushing yourself hard. Now, the program that I've got a video. It's an M15 session that like we've done in the past, if you join my M15 sessions. And it's short, sharp, and shiny, right? So if you haven't got any weights or anything like that at home, you can do this session at the gym, but you can still make it intense if you haven't got the equipment at home, right? It could be just a squat. Just make sure you're going through those exercise programs as a circuit. If you haven't seen the video, check it out in the programs. It's a great workout. It's exactly what I'm going to be doing for my strength training for the next 2 weeks. So the key points to take away, okay? Metabolism, fire it up first thing in the morning. Get it pumping. Drink water, 3 liters a day. Right, that's going to stop a lot of your hunger. It's going to stop your dehydration. If you are drinking, right, even like I said, 2 to 3 liters, you could even drink more than that. Right, in regard to recovery for alcohol, remember branched chain amino acids, green smoothie. Don't forget the key ingredient, the aloe vera. Right, if anyone wants a plant, please, I've got heaps growing in my garden. I'd be more than happy to give you an offcut that you can start growing at home. So let me know. All right, eating a good breakfast, right? A good breakfast, and look, in those off days, as I've got in the program, a big high protein breakfast, no lunch, could be a juice or a smoothie, right? To get that functioning, right? Skipping a meal is, well, I say skipping a meal, but a juice or a smoothie is not really skipping a meal because you're still getting enough nutrition, right? So this is what I have most days, right? It's no lunch, it's a juice or a smoothie, right? And if I can give you a tip on the best juice to have to increase digestion and still give you good energy, it's a beetroot, orange, carrot, ginger. That is the best juice. It's got no fiber in it. It passes through. You get that energy straight into your bloodstream, right? It's like a hit of sugar straight into your bloodstream, right? And that's going to keep you going. That's what I actually had today. So that's a really good one. Now, the other thing to remember is give the digestion a break, right? All this information I'm giving you tonight, it's a guide. So the best thing is to listen to the body, right? So listen to it and listen to what your stomach is telling you. Is it bloated? Needs a rest, right? Or it could mean that you had incorrect food as well. But still, if you ate a lot of food, it's incorrect food, and you got bloating, you got inflammation, you still want to let it pass through, right? Yep, let that chicken pass through the snake's belly, right? That's about it for tonight, guys. They're my key strategies to maintain your weight throughout the festive season. And don't forget something else as well, the goal setting process. Right? Start to really think about that. Start to think about what is your goal going to be for 2020, right? So many fucking people set a resolution. Do not even think about a resolution. Don't even mention that word to yourself or anyone else. Set a goal, a realistic goal, sustainable goal. Think about what's your 5-year plan, your 12-month plan, your 3-month goal. What's that going to be? And what are your stepping stones going to be to get there? Do not set a resolution. That's just setting yourself up for failure, right? So they're my key strategies for maintaining your weight throughout the festive season. Thanks so much for joining me. If you're watching this later, thanks so much again. If you've got any questions, anything you're not sure of, okay, hit me up. Let me know. Otherwise, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I'll be seeing you in 2022. Have a great night, guys. Ciao for now.